Caffeine. Caffeine is a stimulant found in coffee, tea, soda, and energy drinks. Billions of people use it every morning to wake up. Once you drink it, caffeine enters your bloodstream and blocks a chemical called adenosine, which tells your brain when you're tired. So caffeine doesn't give you energy. It just hides your exhaustion. Within 20 to 30 minutes, you feel sharper, more focused, and motivated. Your heart beats faster and neurons fire quicker. The world feels clearer. But as your body breaks down the caffeine, adenosine floods back. The focus fades into irritability. You crash. That's when you think another coffee will fix it. Caffeine is mildly addictive but hides behind routine. Your brain stops producing natural alertness and needs caffeine just to feel normal. Quit suddenly, and you get headaches, fatigue, and brain fog. We joke about needing coffee, but that's withdrawal disguised as culture. Nicotine. Nicotine is a fast-acting stimulant found in cigarettes and vapes. It's the chemical that hooks you, not the smoke. When you inhale it, nicotine hits your brain within seconds and releases dopamine, making you feel calm and content. At first, it feels perfect. Your heart rate rises slightly, thoughts clear up, and stress melts away. For a few minutes, your brain runs smoother, but nicotine burns out quickly. As dopamine fades, calm turns into tension and restlessness. You crave another hit. That's the trap. Each cigarette gives temporary relief from discomfort the last one created. Nicotine doesn't relax you. It just resets withdrawal. Your brain learns that peace only exists between cravings. Over time, it changes how your brain releases dopamine. Without nicotine, everything feels dull. Physically, it damages your lungs and heart. Mentally, it convinces you that you can't cope without it. Alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant that slows down your brain and nervous system. People drink it to loosen up, forget, or belong. Once it enters your bloodstream, it disrupts how your brain communicates. At first, that feels good. You feel warm, relaxed, and confident. Your thoughts quiet down and socializing becomes easier. For a while, alcohol seems like the key to connection. Then judgment fades. Emotions rise. You talk louder, laugh harder, maybe cross lines you wouldn't sober. Your body loses balance, but your brain thinks everything's fine. Alcohol slows you down while convincing you you're in control. Eventually, the fun tilts into exhaustion. Hours later, you're dehydrated and nauseous. The next morning brings the hangover. Your brain chemistry crashes completely. Alcohol is quietly addictive. Soon you're drinking not for fun, but just to feel normal. Over time, it damages your liver and weakens your heart. Cannabis. Cannabis is a psychoactive drug made from the marijuana plant. It's usually smoked, vaped, or eaten as edibles. The main chemical is THC, which affects your brain system that regulates mood, memory, and perception. When THC enters your bloodstream, it binds to receptors in your brain. Time slows down. Your senses sharpen. Everything feels funnier, warmer, softer. At the peak, cannabis can boost creativity or tip into confusion and paranoia depending on the dose. Music sounds deeper, colors feel stronger, ideas seem profound. As the high fades, thoughts slow, speech drifts, and tiredness sets in. For some, it's gentle. For others, it's a heavy fog that lingers into the next morning. Cannabis is psychologically addictive. Regular use dulls motivation, messes with short-term memory, and in heavy doses, triggers anxiety. It's often called harmless, but it quietly reshapes how your brain rewards relaxation. MDMA. MDMA, known as ecstasy or Molly, is a synthetic stimulant and hallucinogen. It's usually swallowed as a pill at parties. The chemical floods your brain with serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin, the chemicals responsible for happiness and connection. As it kicks in, warmth spreads through your body. Music sounds richer, lights shimmer, and touch feels electric. You feel deeply connected to everyone around you. At the peak, serotonin levels spike and the world feels perfect. You dance for hours. You talk endlessly. You feel infinite love for strangers. But MDMA burns through your brain's serotonin so fast that within hours, the come-down starts. Emotion drains out completely, replaced by emptiness and exhaustion. The connection you felt was chemical, not real. Used too often, MDMA damages neurons that release serotonin, making natural happiness harder to reach. It can overheat your body and cause organ failure. Kratom. Kratom is a tropical leaf from Southeast Asia that acts like a mild opioid. It's legally sold in gas stations and online. People brew it as tea or swallow it in capsules. Most treat it like coffee for energy or pain relief. but it binds to the same brain receptors as morphine and heroin, just weaker. Once it enters your bloodstream, chemicals attach to opioid receptors. At low doses, you feel stimulated. Energy rises, focus sharpens, and pain fades. You feel awake and capable. At higher doses, the effect shifts. Stimulation turns to sedation. Your body relaxes. Warmth spreads through your limbs and stress dissolves. It feels like a gentle opioid hug. Then comes the come down. Energy drains, leaving you tired and irritable. If you've been using it daily, stopping brings withdrawal, sweating, nausea, muscle aches, insomnia, and anxiety. Kratom is physically addictive and tolerance builds fast. Nitrous oxide. Nitrous oxide is laughing gas, the same chemical dentists use during procedures. Recreationally, people inhale it from whipped cream canisters or balloons at parties. It feels harmless because it's legal, and the high lasts only 30 seconds. But those 30 seconds cut off oxygen to your brain. When you inhale it, nitrous floods your lungs and enters your bloodstream instantly. Within seconds, sound becomes muffled like you're underwater. Your body feels weightless and detached. A wave of euphoria rushes through you. Everything seems hilarious or profound. At the peak, reality bends. Your sense of self dissolves briefly. Then it ends as fast as it started. Within a minute, the world snaps back. You're left dizzy and craving another hit immediately. Because the high is so short, people inhale repeatedly, sometimes dozens of times. Each time, your brain is starved of oxygen. Long-term use causes permanent nerve damage. DXM, also called robotripping, is the active ingredient in over-the-counter cough syrup. At normal doses, it stops coughs. At high doses, it becomes a dissociative drug that separates your mind from your body. People drink entire bottles of syrup or swallow handfuls of gel caps. The experience is called robotripping because your movements become stiff and robotic. Once consumed, DXM converts in your liver and blocks receptors in your brain. The high creeps in slowly over an hour. Your body feels heavy and distant, like you're controlling it remotely. Nausea hits hard from chugging syrup. At lower doses, the peak feels dreamy. Music sounds richer and reality softens. At higher doses, you experience full dissociation. You might see visuals or feel like you're watching yourself from across the room. Time stretches. Coordination vanishes. As it wears off, grogginess takes over. DXM builds tolerance rapidly and causes brain damage. GHB is a central nervous system depressant that exists naturally in your brain in tiny amounts. Recreationally, it's taken as a clear, salty liquid measured in capfuls. People use it for euphoria and sociability. The problem is the safe dose and deadly dose are dangerously close. Once consumed, GHB slows brain activity and triggers dopamine release. Within 15 to 30 minutes, your body loosens and anxiety melts away. A warm wave of euphoria spreads through you. At the right dose, it feels like the best parts of alcohol without the sloppiness. You're social, confident, and relaxed. But add even one extra capful and the experience flips. Speech slurs, motor control vanishes, and memory cuts out. Go slightly further and you're unconscious with shallow breathing, potentially slipping into a coma. As it wears off, you might wake up confused with no memory of the night. GHB is highly addictive. Euphoria and unconsciousness are separated by a teaspoon. PCP. PCP is a dissociative anesthetic developed in the 1950s for surgery, but abandoned because patients woke up agitated and psychotic. Now it exists as a street drug, smoked, snorted, or injected. The urban legends about superhuman strength have roots in reality. Once it enters your system, PCP blocks receptors in your brain, severing the connection between what you sense and how you feel. Within minutes, your body feels numb and distant, like you're controlling it through fog. Pain disappears completely. At low doses, you feel euphoria and floating sensations. At higher doses, reality fractures. You lose the ability to tell thoughts from actions or yourself from your surroundings. Some users feel invincible or convinced they're somewhere else entirely. Time collapses, speech becomes garbled, and coordination vanishes. People on PCP don't feel injuries or exhaustion, so they keep moving long after their body should stop. PCP is unpredictable and psychologically addictive.